guys another week. And, we have our lovely co host here on Beast Mode Mindset 2.0, Mr. Warren G. And so we're going to be
Smoke.
chatting it. Of course, y'all know he always comes in just randomly with random pop ups. But I mean, nothing's wrong with that. So, tonight, if you've been following us, you see that we'll be introducing a new little segment and part that we'll be doing from time to time called our Millennial Enlightenment segment. And our um, lovely co-host, Mr. Warren G, is going to be handling that segment and giving us the motivation in a different way, different perspective, and we're going to talk about that tonight. Also, too, we do have a guest that will be joining us a little bit later, discussing some things going on in the state of North Carolina in the Piedmont Triad area for Greensboro, for a nonprofit agency known as THP Triad Health Project, and they have an event coming up this Saturday. So that young professional is going to join us a little bit later, talk to us about what's going on, some health things, and things to keep in mind, for us millennials out there who are, working day to day. We're making sure we're trying to make sure we have health coverage and put money aside for when we retire and all these things. But in between times, sometimes we can need a little bit of help, and sometimes we can need some reminders of just how serious things are. And it only takes one thing to change your life around. Quick update, right quick. Just want to let you guys know everything's still going good with radiation and going good with treatment. I call radiation. I feel like I'm getting a slow bake of the turkey since the holidays is coming up, and I'll use that since I kind of get, I have that every day. And physical therapy's going okay. I just get popped and cracked around and all that stuff. Like I said, I will always continue to keep you guys in the loop and give you that update of everything that's going on in regards to breast cancer and my treatment plan and follow up there. And just overall, like I said, just blessed to be with you guys tonight and just kicking it because we all family, so we like to sit back and chat it up, talk about motivational things, hear different perspectives, go over real life content and things and how it applies to us from day to day. And I want to know because I didn't dig into Mr. Warren G's delivery. I didn't dig all into it. I said, hey, let's see what you're gonna do. So I might have to put the fire up on him a little bit and put him in the hot seat and kind of and ask him some questions. Like Professor G, we're gonna call him that for the night, Professor G. And I'm student. Let's say I'm student C. I'll be student Chrissy Renee tonight. So Warren, talk to us a little bit about what's going on, what's on your mind, like what you've been getting ready for us over these past couple weeks, because we took a little bit of a break, and we had a great, awesome our last guest was real awesome, and I know between that and it kind of sparked some things that you really want to highlight and touch on, and you like, hey, Chrissy, I got this thing I want to do, and I'm like, hey, you do it, and let me see, and here we are. So go ahead and talk to us about that.
First of all, Christy, I really appreciate you. Especially allowing me to actually take the driver's seat and you taking the passenger wheel. I think that's a very good thing to have. Especially as far as a business partner, man, because sometimes we have to allow the other person to grow an opportunity. And like you said, to my flame and helping me to expose this, man, is it's really appreciated. So what's been really just laying on my heart, my mind these past couple of weeks, is the fact that we as a general public, I feel like sometimes we can be a little in the dark, and a lot of times that we need that sort of the inspiration. Different different things can bring out the best in people, and sometimes just hearing a good word. You can be riding down the street and you can run into someone, and sometimes a person doesn't really need money to have their situation out. Sometimes they just need a good word. And, I'm not here to change any people's minds or hearts about anything, but I just want to enlighten people and spark an interest, if so to say. Um, and it's crazy that such that here that because I was actually looking up the definition of what enlightenment is, and it means to educate or to become aware that brings a change.
Okay.
So that is actually a definite good thing. When we have this millennial enlightenment segment going on, because that's what we're just looking to do here. Anybody out there who's looking to make a change to their life or looking for some guidance or some type of direction, you guys are definitely tuned into the right network. And, we're definitely, not only me, but Christy, I'm pretty sure of that, and everybody else that helps to put this organization and this establishment together. We all work together as one. And, of course, we can just try to just pretty much just just bring together, a little bit of enlightenment to enlighten people and to just to make them aware about certain things. So, let's see what we got here. All right, no problem. All right. So So I noticed you said that we do have a guest here. Will we be bringing this guest on now? Do you want to go ahead and just go into the segment and then we go open up to them afterwards?
Well, since our guest just popped up, and I can't, ready to jump into our millennial enlightenment segment, and I
Hmm.
mean this goes hand in hand with it as well. So let's go ahead and give our young professional a second right quick to go ahead and let us know what's going on in everyday life in the big city of Greensboro, North Carolina. Um, what's the company that she works for? Her name's Natalie Robinson, and she's a case manager, but she's not just any case manager. She is a special type of case manager. But I'll let her discuss that and let her discuss what's coming up and give some information, and then we'll hop right back on into the enlightenment segment because I'm ready to hear it. Like I'm ready to see what's going on.
Awesomeness, man. I'm ready to tell it.
Hey everybody, my name is Natalie Robinson. I am a case manager at Triad Health Project in Greensboro, North Carolina. We provide lots of services, and our services are for people who are living with HIV. There is a huge stigma still today around HIV and people living with HIV. Um, Many of our clients go through numerous situations where the stigma affects them every day, and the services we provide help them a whole lot. It helps them be themselves, especially at the safe haven house called Higher Ground.
Mm.
They can truly be themselves. Um, so, what would you like to know about THP, Try It Health Project?
Yeah, THP, Triad Health Project. I did a little bit of digging, so I do understand. Triad Health Project did kind of begin or get like its grassroots in like 1986. So it's been around for some time. I understand it's a nonprofit organization. Um, and from what I was able to kind of find in regards to Triad Health Project, and correct me if I'm wrong. So your vision is that you guys are standing together for however long it takes until HIV and AIDS is no more. So you're promoting actual enlightenment,
Right,
dignity,
yeah.
acceptance, understanding. So like I said, like it's just how things are teaming up tonight. Seems like enlightenment is the topic of tonight's show, which is completely awesome. Um, so you guys are kind of demonstrating that not only is this just epidemic that we have to get through, but also too that we need to show care and compassion
Correct.
and
Yes.
empathy to those because it can be any of us, and some people are not. It's nothing they did specifically, but they're actually born
Mhm.
into this situation, and
Correct.
and it's not fair to pull in stereotypes. And I mean, we can get on into a whole lot of stuff when it comes to that
Yeah.
because whether it's
It
medical,
takes a lot of
um,
education.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can imagine. So I know working in the field you work in. Just give a bit about your background because you're really young to be dealing with this population. And my understanding is you probably see a lot of young people, but you probably see a lot of people that are twice your age or old enough to be your parent. So where did you go to college at if you went to college, and what's your background?
I went to UNCG, University of North Carolina at Greensboro. My background is actually in public health, prevention side. I just wanted a job in something dealing with healthcare, other than working just on the computer and not interacting with the public. So
Okay, so you wanted to kind of be a little bit more hands on and face to
yeah,
face
hands on, but not
interactive.
in a clinical setting. But
Got you.
GHP really like interviewing and everything and getting the job. It really has changed my life. I enjoy working there. I work with a great team of people. I can laugh, cry with them. My executive director is awesome. Supervisor, like all my coworkers are awesome. We get on each other's nerves, but we're a family. And our goal, it really is to end HIV. We want to be without a job. Plenty of my coworkers say this all the time. It sounds crazy, but we're the one population of people who want to be without a job because we want to end the HIV epidemic. If that means through helping somebody through case management services we provide, or testing somebody, putting someone on PrEP, giving them a resource, someone who just moved here, those are all services that we provide in our little organization that's been here in the community for forever, 1986. So we just want to make sure that we let everyone know that we are here. We're here to help. We're here to test. We have condoms that are available, sex education for people who are living with HIV or people who don't even understand. We have that service so you can understand more. I prefer people to ask questions and know the correct answers to those questions. And one good reason why I'm on here tonight because we're promoting our Ron Johnson Red Ribbon Run and AIDS Walk. It's going to be Saturday, November 17th. This Saturday, you guys, here in Greensboro, North Carolina, we'll be downtown, at Joymongers. It's going to start at like 3:30. Registration from 2:30 to 3:30, so you can volunteer, donate, run, walk, anything. We are a nonprofit, so we thrive off all kinds of donations, whether monetary, clothes, shoes, any kind of non-perishable goods. We accept all of those.
Okay. And you said where this at again?
This is the walk will be at Joymongers. We'll start downtown, and the address is 576 North Eugene Street, Greensboro, North Carolina. Our office, we actually have two offices. There's one in Greensboro, one in High Point. You can check us out at tryhealthproject.com.
Okay, nice, nice. I wanted to actually pick back on a little bit about that, Miss Robinson, because I think that's actually a pretty noble thing. What you mentioned earlier, about how you was, willing to, just to sacrifice, your own job just to, to stop the whole, AIDS and HIV epidemic going on. That's actually a pretty noble thing. What was your motivation? Like, what made you want to actually, go into this field and say, this is my place, this is my home? Like, what made you want to make that difference?
Um, excuse me, my voice going out. So let me be quite honest. I never thought about going into this field before I got this job. I
Hmm.
never thought about social work at all, like at all. Um, but stepping into this job and doing it how I do, because everyone does differently, I never felt how much of this being my purpose was until doing it. Um, and even saying it now is interesting to hear myself say it because I'm like, oh, it's just a social worker. But I never knew how much I could touch somebody else and it like fill me up and make me happy. Just to see them happy makes me happy, and I think that's what makes me thrive every
Right.
day. So,
Yeah, absolutely, man. I can piggyback on that, man. My grandfather used to always tell me growing up, if you can have a job or you can have a career, and if you're in your career,
correct.
as long as you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, man. So
Mhm.
it's a pretty good thing that you actually found something that you actually love to do, and of course, for uh for a reason other than just monetary stature. You definitely found a passion in that, and that's what's going to keep that's what keeps people around in their field. It's just the love that they actually have for not only just making a difference, but actually putting a smile on somebody's face. Even if you didn't,
Right.
affect a million people, as long as you affected that one person, man, sometimes that's all that really matters.
Yes,
So
yes,
I
that's
got a
true.
question. I got a question for you, and I mean, definitely what you guys are highlighting is it's a very heavy subject, but it's a necessary subject, and I think a lot of times people, I'll say people like us, we forget that we're not invincible. That nothing. We forget that things can happen to us, and like I
Right.
said, and like I said earlier, I think what you're doing as an everyday profession, it extends more than just a Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. And so, hats off to you guys because I know you guys do a whole lot. Like you're feeding families, you're seeing kids, you're seeing, couples, same sex, heterosexual couples. Um, you're seeing a lot, and also a lot of diversity with the ethnic groups and backgrounds, educational backgrounds, and I think that's a misconception too, because sometimes people assume just because somebody is dealing with something that they're not educated, or they didn't have a life beforehand, or they don't have a
Correct.
life at
Yes.
all.
It's the stigma. So people assume
Right.
like, oh, because they're of this stereotype or this. No, it could be like a person has different stuff going on that could be anybody. Like there's power loans of different health disparities. So and like social and economic status. Like there's power and stuff that contributes to a person's um poverty level or education. But some of these people that stuff doesn't apply to. Like it could, like you said, it could be anybody. Never underestimate. But it's not just that stigma. Just continues to hold like what you see on TV. That's not how HIV is depicted or
Right.
should be depicted. People living with HIV are regular human beings. You would never know, and you're not. It's private. You shouldn't know. We make sure all that is confidential. Um, and it kind of makes it harder working because these people have to go through this. That's not fair. That's not how they should live. But I do feel like we can work towards that. Like we can work towards to make this better. Like as a collective unit. And it takes a lot. We have immigrants. You have to be open. You can't judge anyone for what they look like, how they may sound, what they do or did. Um, in this situation or in this job, not job situation, this job, you have to be very open minded. Being narrow minded is not something that should go on. But I do feel
That's
like
that's so true.
we need to work together. We have a lot of involvement from churches, but trying to make sure we get that African American community involved. Our African American community, like we are a population who are very high prevalent in HIV, people living with HIV. So we need to get involved, get churches involved, especially the black church, because that's a voice of reasoning for African Americans. So
Hmm.
trying to get them involved and letting them know, we're here and not promote sex, but, if people are having sex, safe
Right.
sex,
Stay
just,
safe.
making sure that word is out there. And it's hard to do that in the African American community because of how, we were raised and the stuff that we were taught. So that's
I'll
one thing.
I'll
But
I'll say I think I no I was just gonna say I ain't mean to interrupt you, but I think what makes it hard to discuss is not so much this African American community, but in the South itself, because there's a heavy culture of Christianity and tradition, and a traditional aspect as to how the household was ran in the African American community, what was talked about, what was discussed, and what was not discussed. And even with those that fall in that baby boomer stage or age, you're coming to hear them say, "We didn't talk about these things. We didn't discuss these things. Nobody ever told us."
right. Mm,
And because they weren't told, some did try to teach their kids, and then some didn't get a chance to, and now they're trying to see the generation after that, their grandkids dealing with things, and they feel like if we had just had one talk, if we had just had conversation, one conversation about this situation, this epidemic, and how it affects so many of us, then maybe this could have changed the course or the path for some people not encountering things the way that they did, or at least they would know the safety that comes along with it. I do have one thing, other thing I was just thinking about as you were talking. It made me think about something, and I'm just gonna link it on over to cancer. And I did a live feed probably a few weeks ago or whatnot, in the month of October, just dealing with cancer. And cancer is not the same as HIV and AIDS, but it's something that you're not able to cure. Like, yeah, it may go to remission, or if my understanding with HIV and AIDS, well, there's HIV and then there's AIDS. There, the medicine helps suppress this on certain levels so people can try to live normal and do things normal. But my main point was this: when you were talking about, we have to come together and help, whether it's churches, community organizations, donations, financial, or even just whatever you have. I think another thing that we often don't get to talk about, and Warren, you let me know how you feel about this too, is that we, and I'm saying we because I am African American, we don't participate often in clinical research. And I'm just putting it out there because I know it goes against a lot of things people are taught traditionally and church-wise and all other types of stuff. And back in the day, they did this and they did that. And, people were tested for this. And, so it's kind of this thing like, oh, they want to use me as a lab rat. But I always tell people this: there's more than one way to fight a battle. You're going to have people that financially give, people that are going to, you have the people that are on the lawmaking side, the legal aspect. But when clinical research is open to the public and you have an active chance to participate in something, not looking for compensation necessarily, but looking to be possibly the key that may assist in helping develop a cure to eradicate these other diseases and to stop the epidemic of what's affected so many people and communities,
Right.
that you should actively do that. I think that's one thing that we don't do a lot of as well. It's just like, okay, well, they stuck me, that was good enough. They just gonna test it for my sugar, my blood pressure, and all that. But when it comes to clinical research,
could go with Chrissy. Sorry, y'all, that's my sister too. So that could go with also people not being educated. Not let me not say educated, because physicians have a different language that they speak. Let's just be honest.
Right.
And for some people, it's difficult to understand, and physicians may not know how to tune it down to explain to the average person who do not understand what they're saying. Or does not understand what they're saying. So at that point, it becomes a barrier. So you're just trusting that your physician is going to do what you assume that they're supposed to do, but you're not questioning that because you don't know whether to or not. Not saying that you could be the average Joe, who knows, but you may not understand, and that really causes people to assume like I'm just going to put their best interest at heart, or they're going to put my best interest at heart, or it could also be that, that doctor, you trust. But I do agree that people do not do different kinds of what did you call it? Testing
participate in clinical research or clinical trials. And I would just say, because it's known quite. It's quite known when people go back and look at the studies on the ones
like
that the very
studies. I guess it's proof that people live all past experiences that other people have went through, and then again, like I said, I feel like it's education. Like people are not understanding to question physicians at certain points, and then some people may not have insurance, may not have the money to go to the doctor. They may go to the ER, use ER as primary treatment instead of secondary treatment.
Right.
And that's an issue too, because you wait until you end up having a heart attack to go to the doctor, but the little signs that are leading up that you can go to the doctor and find out what's wrong to prevent it. You don't pay attention to, because you may not have the insurance. That's a whole other bill that you have to worry about. You may have kids to feed. It's a stacking.
It's so many factors.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot of
and
factors.
then that ties back into our clients. Our clients have a lot of stacking on factors that we have to deal with, especially someone moving here may not know the area. It all ties in. It all ties in. And we make sure we handle all of their needs that we can handle. If there's referring out, like bus passes, if they may need groceries that month, they came here no clothes. Like, we make sure we handle every aspect of it. Like, that's why like donations are really big, and we try to make sure like Dining for Friends and the Ron Johnson Run, like those things, we make sure we promote those as much as possible.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I will say. One thing one other thing, like as you were talking, I was just thinking that, I mean, like say back on the topic of enlightenment itself, um, what all you just talked about and let people know that there's not enough of, or there sometimes is a lack of understanding between the lingo between physicians and patients. Um, don't be afraid to ask a question. If you don't know, keep asking until you get an answer that you're completely satisfied with on the inside. Because if you have a question, and you're not understanding what the medical professional is presenting to you, then 9 times out of 10, you're not the first, and you're not the only, and you're not going to be the last. And it's okay to ask questions. Um, in those situations, and ask for resources too. I think that's another piece that we forget to do. And you're right, though. I mean, uh, that is one thing I have noticed, that sometimes people do use emergency room as primary care, and clearly it says on the discharge papers, follow up for primary physician, and a lot of hospitals give a list of physicians to follow up with. But it goes back to that lack of insurance, because people know if they go to the hospital, they cannot get turned away. But to call a doctor's office and you don't have insurance, they will say, hey, well, you need to reach out to social services. You need to reach out to this or that. But, I will say, your mouth is going to be your best tool. And when I say that, it means ask as many questions as possible. Try to ask questions about resources. It may be hard, but find someone that you're comfortable with. And if someone makes you uncomfortable, then find somebody else, because, everybody has their up and down days, and nobody's perfect. And when you're dealing in that environment that you're in, I can imagine that there is a heaviness and a tenseness that comes, just from your clients, not just what you encounter, but also to your colleagues and stuff like that. So I just want to say hats off to you, and hats off to, Try It Health Project. I've seen you guys a little bit on Facebook, like really promoting and doing short videos.
Yeah, we get
with
it in.
different
We have
things.
fun.
I see Taylor. I seen Alicia. I seen some other people. I'm calling out names because I'm a nosy person, so I kind of go to the website and kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah, and you guys we have all social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It's Try It Health Project. Just check us out. We're in our website, tryithealthproject.com. Check our videos out. Like I said, we're promoting the event that we have this Saturday. It's November 17th at 3:30. If you want to run, you can still register. Well, I think the run is out for right now. Monday was the last day to register, but you can still donate. You can still volunteer. You can sign up. It's under tryithealthproject.com under events, and it's the Ron Johnson Red Ribbon Run and AIDS Walk. So please help us celebrate. Have fun. It'll be at Joymongers Brewing Company. The address is 576 North Eugene Street, and that's Greensboro, North Carolina. And if you can't get down to us, then we have, like I said, an office in Greensboro and High Point. Feel free to drop in, donate items, clothes, food. Greensboro is 801 Summit Avenue, and in High Point it's 620 West English Road. We offer free testing, STI testing, that's gonorrhea, chlamydia, HIV and syphilis. Monday night from 5 to 7. Wednesday night it's from 1 to 3, and in High Point it's also, I want to say, 1 to 3, if I'm not mistaken. Alicia, don't kill me. So I think it's 1 to 3 in High Point on Fridays. Um, but check our website out. All the information is there. You can find out what we do, who we are. We are a loving group of people who are trying to change the world in HIV. Our clients are our main focus, and we support them 100%. And we're there for them. We're here to make a difference and to be the change, to be the face. And as our executive director says, you guys have heard about us, so welcome home.
Welcome home. I like that. That's cool. So, G, did you have any other questions for Ms. Robinson?
No, it's actually it's funny when she was talking. I was actually sitting here doing a lot of thinking, bringing enlightenment to that because you're absolutely right. That's something that we really don't talk about in the community growing up. Something because
Right.
people are just they're uneducated. Excuse me, they're uneducated about the actual fact and about the topic. So, I mean, at the end of the day, by you bringing her on the show and actually bringing light to this actual situation, hopefully that can make a difference, and we can start ask more questions. I mean, I
Right.
feel like that's where it all starts. Once you ask that question and find that answer, and then from that moment, that's when things can make a difference because you actually have an answer at that point.
Right.
Okay, well, thank you, Professor G, because we nicknamed him Professor G tonight. Natalie, if you ain't know, since he's on he's on that end of enlightening us, and he got some stuff. So I definitely hope you tune into the rest of the show to hear what he has to say. But I do want to take time to thank you once again for your time. Thank you to Triad Health Project for allowing you to be with us tonight and to share that information. It's much needed information. So I think it's going to be okay if I say this. On behalf of Decent Mindsets 2.0, we would love to invite you back as well as your colleagues. See if they. So this way we can devote a show to it. We can actually talk and have this conversation, and a little bit more in detail. You guys can kind of dig. Let us know some of the fun stuff that you're doing. Um, how people can volunteer, other stuff. Just just actually dig into that, and we're here to help continue to spread the word, not just for one race, but all races, not just for one gender, but all genders. So thank you once again, Ms. Robinson, for being a young professional that's devoted, their education and their career to assisting others. There's people like you that make, people sitting across from you um, feel comfortable and feel like someone cares. And we can definitely hear that in your voice. And like I said, once again, thank you for joining us and sharing the information. You guys make sure I'll repost some information on the Matt Broadcasting page and to my personal page, and also inside of Default Mindset 2.0. So if you'd like to donate, that information will be up later on tonight or first thing in the morning towards the walk. And like I said, once again, www.tryhealthproject.com. They're located in two areas, Greensboro and High Point, available to assist you with pretty much everything that you could ever possibly need, from free testing to resources and just a listening ear. And thank you once again. And
thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. You have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
All right.
So wow, that was really
useful
awesome.
information, man.
Huh?
It's a lot of useful information. I never heard of that group before.
Hey, being in the Research Triangle Park area, down this way, Raleigh, Durham, Cary, Chapel Hill, regardless of the area, and regardless of the name of the organization, of course, we know there are plenty of organizations out there that are always looking to give back to others, and it takes a lot to help someone else. And nonprofit organizations don't always get a lot of funds, so they really do look for donations and stuff like that, and they they work very hard to put the money in the places of where they're going. You have a lot of people who dedicate more than just their regular hours of work, and they dedicate their life to situations like that. And I know Triad Health Project, one of their main things is enlightenment when it comes to HIV and AIDS, which
Mm-hmm.
is a very hard topic, and some people don't even like saying the word. It's about as bad as saying the word cancer. But people have found the comfortability with it, but people are still uncomfortable with talking about HIV and AIDS. But it is affecting so many in so many ways. It's affecting kids who are born into the life with it and have to live a certain lifestyle, and not because of the choice they made, but the ones that brought them into the world did.
Right.
So, Professor G, continue to enlighten us tonight, because I still got this appetite for some information that I've been waiting on. You thought I was gonna let you go, but I'm not gonna let you go. So,
Yeah, I'll tell you, huh? That's no problem, and I got the antidote for that. All right, so one of the things that I actually was thinking about in the past, once we just started to actually create this is, since this is the first time that we are starting this show, I was thinking to myself like, what do I want to actually speak about? Like, what would be something that would be a good topic, a good subject to actually start off this whole millennial enlightenment. And so it came to me, I was just sitting there thinking one day, and I was like, you know what? Like, I really feel like a good place to start would be this, pretty much the law of just the law of attraction. And to me, I feel like that was a good place to start. Is because it helps you to just to get a base understanding of where to actually begin when you're looking for a change in your life. A lot of us, we go through ups and downs, and we have the new year that's getting ready to be coming up, and we're looking for certain changes in our life that that we want to incorporate and to be able to become a better person than we was even a year from today. So I feel like um, the law of attraction was definitely a great place to start. And the foundation of all belief, if you're alive and your heart is beating, then you have the opportunity to make a change at any given moment. And I like that foundation of belief because that is something that everybody can apply to. It's not just if you're young. It's not if you're your mid 20s or your mid 30s. This goes all the way up from the time that you're from the time that you're actually able to constantly make a decision from yourself, all the way up until the point that you could be 75, 80 years old and still be able to make a difference in your life. And it just all just depends on the fact of what you believe and just what you believe in your heart. And once you believe that at any given opportunity that you can make a change in your life at any moment, then that belief actually liberates you, because you free yourself from guilt, from fear, judgment, anxiety, just all the intangibles, the things that we don't see, but we feel that they're there. And sometimes, we can't explain it, but we just know that that feeling is there. And so, but also with that belief, we become more open to embracing the future and to receive life at its greatest potential. So, once we believe that we make a difference in our life, and then we actually take the time out to we make the space to actually believe that can really happen, and we use those actions and we apply it to our life. And I mean, it really doesn't take much to make a change. You just have to be more willing to just be to create to gain more control over your mind rather than your actual body. So what a person believes, it just all falls into how you transcend gender, how you transcend the culture, how you transcend religion. And so if you're putting all these apples into one basket, I really feel like what it really just boils down to is, we all believe that by the way we think and feel, we actually we have the natural right to create the life that we live and the life that we design. So at that point, the question that would actually we would have to ask would be, you know, why do we keep creating the same circumstances? Why do we keep having the same relationships, or the same jobs or the same conditions? Basically, why do we keep repeating the same actions but expecting different results? Um, and so to truly answer, that question, to truly change, then that would mean that we will have to begin to think and act differently, but within the same situations in your life. So, to change then means that you have to act and think greater than your actual environment. And the problem is, really with that, when we're looking to change in the same environment, we have to understand that the brain is actually is where the problem lies at. So, with that being said, your brain is just a reflection of your environment. So people, the circumstances, the conditions, experiences, th- things that you go through, are all programmed in your structure of your conscious mind. So when you perceive reality through a lens with familiar past and familiar events and familiar people and circumstances, so in other words, when you see the same people do the same things, you drive the same way to work every day. You wake up and the first thing you do, you check your Facebook, you get on your WhatsApp, and you're reading all this, and it's just constantly just reminding yourself of the environment that you're going to be dealing with on a daily basis. So at that point, then you really have to think about it. Then you're not actually creating any new circuits. You're not doing anything with your life. You're not creating no chemical imbalances. And at that point, you're actually letting your environment create the way that you think. Because if you're constantly doing the same thing every day, every day, every day, and you're constantly reaffirming the same. When you see the same people, there's nothing new. There's nothing new going on. Like you have to, by getting outside of that box, excuse me, by getting outside of that box, you actually take the time out to create a chemical imbalance. And when I say chemical imbalance is, every time that you think a thought, that thought creates a chemical, and that chemical actually creates and affects the way that you feel. So, whenever you let your environment control your thinking, that's not a part of change, because you actually, the true meaning of change is to actually think, when you're actually thinking greater than your environment in order to make that change. And of course, that means that you would be experiencing growth. And if you keep thinking the same way, and if you keep making the same decisions, then I mean, what are we really creating here? The same results. So, and that's the actual problem, because you don't want to. You're looking to create different results, but keep making the same decisions. So, so what happens is that in our mid to late 30s, we actually stop learning and we start feeling. So those feelings have actually become the meaning of thinking, and we'll evaluate every circumstance from that point on about how it's going to feel at that point. So if we don't like how it feels, then most likely we're not going to make the decision to even embrace it. Um, so, how much room do we actually leave for the unknown? Um, as far as being able to actually be wanting to make that change. And then the meaning of change again is to basically just to think and act differently in the same way. The meaning of change is to begin to think and act differently, but in the same circumstances. So I know you're thinking, okay, we get it. In order to make a change, in your life, you have to change the way that we think and the way that we act. Okay, so what's the next step? So now, the next step after that is enlightenment. Knowledge is what, and that's the whole, the point of becoming more, let me say this, becoming more conscious about the way that you think and the way that you feel. Because, education, helps to get things done. It helps to fire new circuits. The education is like a bridge that's like between, just it's between helping to understand things and helping to understand, where exactly the differences need to be made. So basically, when you begin to learn knowledge and new bits of information, that's actually what begins to force the brain to work in new ways. So knowledge, with knowledge being the actual bridge and between firing and wiring new connections and circuits in our brain, um, then you're thinking outside of the box at that point, and that's what it takes in order to make that change. And of course, that takes an act of will, um, because you have to always be consciously you have to be conscious of what you're thinking and what you're feeling. You can't just go through the whole day and just to stop. And sometimes you may have to just check yourself, like is this thought or is this way that I'm feeling, is this is this something that I can control or is this something that's controlling me? And you have to really be more conscious. And at that point, that's just an act of will. Um, but when you have thoughts, you create chemicals, and then if you have positive thoughts, then you make chemicals in the matter of seconds, and that makes you feel great. So that this immaterial thing that we call a thought fires circuits in our brains, and our brain releases chemicals so that we feel exactly the way that we're actually thinking. So something with negative thoughts is that so when this cycle continues all day, all month, all year, if you're thinking in a positive light, then of course you're going to create chemicals, and then those chemicals will create how you think and how you feel. So and that's called a state of being, and where the feelings have become our way of thinking. So by definition of change, that means that we will have to think greater than how we feel. So when the body is in control and has taken the front seat, then that's when that's actually become a habit. So when you're always in a negative mindset, so basically, so you wake up, do the same thing, drive the same way every day to work. You see the same people, you experience the same things. So you're experiencing the same chemicals every day, and then of course, with you not thinking outside of the box, that actually becomes your state of being. Which at that point, if you break it down even smaller, that becomes a habit that you make to do that every single day. And, and a habit, of course, is just where the mind is actually in control. Well, excuse me, where the body is actually more in control of the mind, because the mind has no say so, really, because the body is actually the one controlling your day. So when you make room for a change and you declare it and you want to actually make a difference in your life, that's when you go from being the victim to the victor, because you have to actually get ready at that moment when you want to make that change, because that's when you know all odds are going to be bet against you, because if you're so used to making the same decisions every day, seeing the same people, and then when it comes to a point when you want to make a difference and you say, you know what, I want to change this, I want to change that. Well, that's the mind actually taking control at that point, and then your body is going to be, well, we've been doing this for 20 years now. Hey, so what's the actual reason here? So, and your body and your mind is constantly going to be going through a back and forth cycle. But at that point, you just always have to be willing to check every thought that comes into your play and just be like, you know what, is this really something that's actually serving me, or is this something that I've just been doing out of habit, and something that's actually fitting into this box. So so basically, when you've been thinking that way for 20 years and you decide to make that change, so chemicals, of course, come into play, and you will hear every reason on which why you can't change, and that's the body actually trying to return itself back to the state of familiarity. So that's when the act of will actually comes into place, and when the body wants to go back to the same stuff, the same state, you have to actually gain control over your body, and to just put it in check and be like, hey, you know what, I'm in control. This is what we're going to do, and there's nothing that you can do about it. And so once you get to that point, then you're actually putting, then that's when pretty much the student has now become the master, where you've actually put your mind back into control to the point where, whenever your mind gives yourself or whenever your mind gives your body a command, it's like a dog on a leash. Like it just sits there and it's like, like, hey, you know what? He's right. This is what needs to happen, and there's no kickback to it. But at that point, that takes a lot of thinking. It takes a lot of nurturing. But that's the first step to change. And I know there's so much more and far and few in between, but with that, it's not really a lot of time to get a little bit more into it. Um,
Oh, we got plenty of time because every Wednesday at 9 we're coming back, and so I mean, what you're saying, I completely get and I understand, and it breaks down to be just as simple as this for me, faith,
yeah, definitely.
faith, like, and whether we say law of attraction or not, it still ties into the biblical sense, and there's like some scriptures and all types of stuff that definitely will speak to that, and definitely talk about it. And I know it's not always brought up that way at church or Bible study and other places, but the law of attraction. So you're having positive thoughts and you're creating a positive
Yeah,
atmosphere so you can move forward in life, and it's a known thing scientifically that the more positive we are, or how our thoughts are, they affect our emotions and how our body produces different hormones, different levels of different things that actually play a part into our actual physical response and everything else. One of our listeners had made a comment as they were listening in, and because we like to chat and talk back and forth a little bit. Um, so our listener, Carl Graham, he stated that knowledge is the key of understanding, and so I can definitely agree with that. Knowledge is the key of understanding. Knowledge is the key to unlock many doors. And just like our earlier guest, case manager Robinson from Tried Health Project stated and talked about, um, giving that information about HIV and AIDS, and just like you're doing now, and enlightening us about the positivity and the mindset and how it affects so much.
yeah,
Having that knowledge and knowing what we need to do, we can make the necessary changes and steps to move forward. And like we've always said before, if you don't have a team, get a team, create a team, um, and create a positive atmosphere around you. So thank you, Mr. Graham, for sharing that. I just want to shout you out.
definitely.
Like I said, he said knowledge is the key of understanding, and I can definitely agree on so many levels. So please continue to, comment, listen in on us, Mr. Graham, and share your insight with us. You can always get in touch with Matt Broadcasting Beast Smoke Monsters 2.0 by going to the Facebook page, Matt Broadcasting. There's also the group LinkedIn, Beast Smoke Mindset 2.0, with your host, Christy Renee and Warren G. And so, we're going to go ahead and sign off tonight, and I'm going to let Professor G sign us off tonight. Give us a little hype, and, once he says his goodbye, just turn the volume up and listen to I Ain't Turning Back, because, we like to get hype. And we'll catch you next Wednesday. One love. This is Chrissy Renee signing off. G.
All right, no problem. I definitely appreciate that, Miss Christie. Man, you have definitely been a blessing with us today with Beast Mode Mindset. And, we are both signing out here. There's one thing I want to leave you guys with is it's a really good quote that I've actually heard this past week. I just want to share with you guys, man. So it's from our man Brian McGill. It states, whatever makes you uncomfortable is your biggest opportunity for growth. So you guys take that and run with it. Right here, right now, Warren Williams signing out with Beast Mode. We'll see you guys back next week, 9 o'clock, Wednesday, all right?
Hey, Juice. This sounding like an anthem, man. Them horns got me feeling real heroic right now, baby. Yes. This is my 300 music. I'm about to get my Leonidas on, fam. Let's ride in, baby. You riding with me, baby? Let's get it. I got my fool on my own, my head to the sky. I'm going in the battle with my horns up high, and I'm through playing games. You can see it in my eyes, and you can go and ask anybody. I'm a real and I ain't turning back. I ain't turning back. I ain't turning back. I ain't turning back. It ain't nothing back. I ain't turning back. You ready, fam? I ain't turning back. I ain't turning back. I ain't turning back. No, I'm on my Luke 9. I'm daily dying. Holy Spirit, keep your boy while I'm on the grind. Full on my own, cause I know them darts flying. And I'm through playing games, homie, I ain't lying. I'm walking out the ways that I had as a juvenile. But this the plan that God had before I was a child. I'm walking in my destiny, and he protecting me. I'm eating at a table prepared for my enemies. That's why, homie, I ain't turning back. You hear me? I ain't turning back. Only thing I'm turning back, homie, is my fitted hat. So go ahead and get your gat. You can go and cock it back when Christ rose up out the grave, and he coming back. And one day I'ma rise with him, meet up in the skies with him. That's why I'm willing to live and even die with him. Brethren all over the world, my horns high with him. Even if it means our death, you know we ride with him. Yeah, my head to the sky. I'm going in the battle with my horns up high, and I'm through playing games. You can see it in my eyes, and you can go and ask anybody. I'm a ride, and I ain't turning back. 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 No.
Young boy flame in the church, about 17. Down the street, dirty things. Down the street, murder scene. So our whole regime hit the knees and we went witnessing. Our plan, lift the king. God's plan is redeemed. He brought my homie back. Now we back on the track, running the same race. We on the same track for the same God who resurrected his son. Reflect on what he's done. Ain't no backwards to run. Where will we go? Back to our grave. Leave a castle for some shackles and be enslaved. They don't make no sense. No offense with the statement, man. No offense, that's man. Just like a Jew begging for concentration camps. That's just like a black begging for segregation bags. That's insanity, beautiful Christianity. And true to the planet, removing all our vanity. God forgives, see flaming things. We got our food on.
My head to the sky. I'm going in the battle with my horns up high. And I'm through playing games. You can see it in my eyes. And you can go and ask anybody. I'm a ride. And I ain't turning back. 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 It ain't no running. Let's get it in, man. I ain't turning back. No, they said it wasn't worth it, that this was worthless. Ain't nothing but hypocrites sitting up in them churches. Never. But I went to God's house and I found my purpose. Now my life's a sacrifice, fam, I'm living worship. Ain't nothing behind but death for me and enemies. That's it. A cemetery or a penitentiary. That's it. That ain't the way I want you to remember me. Never. Now they think of my Lord when they mention me. This is rider music, survivor music. And I wasn't forced to do this, I was built to do this. And I know it's war ahead, but God gon' get me through it. And I brought my cross with me, gone and nailed me to it. Cause I ain't turning back. I don't care if they got 50 ratchets at me, about to knock off my fitted hat. I ain't turning back. I don't care if they got 50 ratchets on me, gone and knock off my fitted hat. My head to the sky. I'm going in the battle with my horns up high. And I'm through playing games. You can see it in my eyes. And you can go and ask anybody. I'm a ride. And I ain't turning back. 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 I got my foot on. My head to the sky. This war, baby, in the battle with my horns up. And when it's wartime, playing games, soldiers go to the front lines, and you can go and ask. But this one war, we don't gotta worry about losing. I ain't turning back because it's already. I ain't turning back. I ain't turning back. My God, I ain't turning back. I ain't turning back. That's why we go in. I ain't turning back. No.